We've talked about simplify. We've talked about automated. Now let's talk about team up, the T in SAT. Team up is basically the idea that you can start to rely on other people and you don't have to deal with this stuff alone. And the truth is you probably aren't actually dealing with this up alone, but sometimes it might feel like that. And we need to be able to communicate our needs and hold each other accountable, right? Which just means that you say you're going to do something and you do it. And a lot of times that's easier when you involve other people. Now, this could be involving peers, other students, it could be parents, and it could be teachers. So some of this stuff might feel kind of obvious, but it's important as a student that you be able to self-advocate in a number of situations, meaning that if you don't understand something, or you feel like you need more help, or you feel like there might be a better way of doing something in order for you to understand the concept and really thrive and grow in the environment that you're in, you need to ask for that. Sure, there's some really wonderful people out there that will proactively come to you and offer you assistance, but ultimately it comes down to your ability to engage other people when you need help. So that could be asking questions, that could be dividing up responsibilities if you're doing a group project, for example, and understanding what different people's strengths are and what they're not. It could also be you teaching and helping other people, whether they're peers or siblings or whoever, so that you learn through teaching. There's an old expression that mastery comes through teaching sometimes. But the other thing that I want to bring into this is another kind of a teammate, and that is AI. Very, very hot topic in school right now. Some schools allow it, some schools don't. Some schools have something in the middle. This, of course, requires your parents to be on board with this. But ChatGPT is an incredible tool, not just for actually helping you with your work and things, but for learning how better to interact with these kinds of tools and honestly become a critical thinker. Unfortunately, a lot of people see ChatGPT as a way of cheating, right? It's a way of like doing the work for you, doing the writing for you. And yeah, it can do that. But honestly, it doesn't do that really, really well. And a lot of people are able to detect those. There's tools allow you to detect those. To me, I want you to see ChatGPT not as a replacement for your own work, but again, as a teammate that can really help you come up with ideas, can be a sounding board, can help you refine your work and really learn better and honestly at your own pace. So ChatGPT, you can get a free account. Again, parents have to allow this. But here are prompts that we want to take you through if you haven't used it or if you have, to see how you can best use it. So let's take this one. Explain photosynthesis to me like I'm in 7th grade, right? Now let's say I'm going to do that, but let's say that maybe I really, really don't get it. I really don't understand photosynthesis. So forget 7th grade. Let's change this to 4th grade. Okay, there. So now let's see what the answer it gives me. So photosynthesis is how we make plants. Okay, great. So it's explaining this. And now here's the key. ChatGPT and AI in general is not a one and done, meaning you don't just ask for something and then you get what you get and then that's it. You need to think about it really like it's a person and have a conversation. Okay, so photosynthesis is how plants make their own food and with using sunlight, water, and air. Plants take in light from the sun. So I'm going to say and then plants also take in a gas called carbon dioxide from the air. So let's say I don't really understand that. What does that mean? What is carbon dioxide? Right? And now it's going to tell me. And I have it using a model right now that actually is a little slower, but more in depth, but it usually goes a little faster. Okay, it's an odorless gas when you breathe out. Great. So now I'm going to say something that is not correct and see what happens, right? So humans breathe in carbon dioxide. And hopefully it'll correct me. And what this should start to make, humans do inhale a small amount. Okay, fine. But it's very small part. When we exhale, we get rid of carbon. I see. Okay, so great. So carbon dioxide is poisonous. And we'll see what it says about that. And while it's coming up, so it isn't poisonous in the usual sense. Okay, great. So cool. So it's going to take me through this. And I can have a whole conversation about this, get really specific. Now, another one let's do is this. Let's do some brainstorming or creative prompt. So we have that book report for Great Gatsby, right? So let's do this. Help me refine my idea for my book report on the Great Gatsby. I think that Zelda was actually a time travel. Now, if anybody's read this book, you know this is definitely not true. Actually, a time traveler, and she wanted to come back to the past to steal the Gatsby's wealth. Does that sound like a good idea? Okay, let's see what she says. Or he says, she says, whatever you want. So again, like you can go back and forth and you can iterate very quickly to see. So here's a fun imaginative task where Zelda becomes a time traveler. Okay, so it's actually showing me like how I could possibly like go with that, clarify the role, connect time travel to the themes, and there you go. Now this is not writing the essay for me, right? This is going to make it, and I could ask it to, but again, I don't recommend you do that. I don't think it does a very good job. But what this is it's like I had this really cool idea. I thought she was a time travel, and now it's sort of validating that and kind of helping me flesh out how I can do that, which is really great. Now let's take another example. And this is something that I think happens a lot with social media and with things is that we can often misinterpret things. So let's try this. I need you to help me determine if something my friend said to me was an insult or not. They said the other day that I looked really fly. Now, I'm very sorry. I was born in the 80s. That's something that we might have said in the past, which was a nice thing. Somebody looks fly is a good thing. But they said I look really fly. Is that good or bad? Let's see what it says. And the thing is here is that ChatGPT, this is private. It is just between you and ChatGPT. And it is really can be very objective, right? So fly is slang, typically stylish, cool, and attractive. Awesome. Saying you look really fly is almost always a compliment, not an insult. Great. So I think that's really helpful again too, because this becomes your sounding board. And in a way, you should think about it as a potential teammate to get you understanding how you can engage others to ultimately help you get to the idea or the goal that you want to. And one last example, right, is we already used Magic To Do to break down a task, but let's say this. I have to write a 10-page book report on the Great Gatsby. Break it down and give me the first 3 tasks I should work on. Now you can use ChatGPT to create images. You can also upload. There's things here you can upload a photo or even a document and say like summarize this for me, or what do you see in the photo, interpret it, all that kind of stuff. Overview here. So great. Again, this is not writing it for me, but this is helping me break this down into manageable steps and tasks that I can work on. And again, we want to in general be able to communicate needs, and when we need assistance, self-advocate. And I'd like you to consider ChatGPT or other AI tools as a possible teammate that can support you in your learning and your productivity journey.